Good afternoon, we are Cheltmental. We are closing in on the 2-week marker. So it's not going to be long until the Cheltenham Festival. I am Pete, also known as Risk for Rewards on Twitter. I've got just under 4,000 followers if you want to go over to there. If not, if you click subscribe on my YouTube channel, because my video content will be coming out before my analysis, just because I can say exactly what I'm thinking rather than writing it all down and providing the more detail close to the time. So these are just current thoughts about Friday's Cheltenham Festival, just from the 2-week outlook of a few horses that might cut up and my initial thoughts. So currently straight into the Triumph Hurdle, a race that I never like to post Antepost, because you see so many favourites get turned over, the likes of Apple Shakiras that look world beaters, and also you worry about these horses seem to just beat themselves. The easiest way to describe this is they're like 2-year-olds on the flat, in the fact that they're all developing at different times, getting used to it, and none of them have the same mental heads to begin with, like as mentally strong where they're young horses. So like you could run horse A versus horse B and horse A wins, but then they meet in 3 months time and horse B reverses that form by 10 lengths. It's just where they were mentally and maturing at that time. So anyway, going on to the Triumph Hurdle. So it's 3 at the top that we're looking at: Vauban, Pied Piper and Field Door. Vauban, Willie's already talking about bigger things with this, like it sounded very much like he thinks he's a champion hurdle horse and that he could be much better. And it's very interesting, considering the money that came for him on debut, and he was backed in something like 4 to 9, and Pied Piper obviously dealt with him, and Gordon said that his horse wasn't even fit. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens between those two in the next meet, because Vauban probably would have won that day had he not misjumped the last and then been pinned in at the rail. So there's not a lot between them on that basis. Since then, though, Vauban's gone and won the Group 1 Juvenile, beating Phil Door, and he did things wrong again that day. He looked very inexperienced. His jumping was a little bit iffy at times, but he was travelling hard on the steel and he won very well going away. The only way I see Phil Door reversing that form is if it came up heavy, and even then I'm only clutching on the fact that my juveniles, like what I said before, because if that was a normal Supreme or whatever, I can't see a way where Phil Door's reversing that. And then you look at Pied Piper. Strangely enough, the camp was still going on saying, even after he'd beaten Vauban and then he'd gone to Cheltenham, won by over 10 lengths, handled the track, did everything beautifully on the bridle, and then the yard are still saying Phil Door's a better horse. So I mean, make of that what you know. This is the same as like the homework with horses and stuff. So I think for me, looking at the initial betting, you're looking at Vauban or Pied Piper. It's whether you want the course form that Pied Piper has or the potential that Vauban has. But it's going to be a good race. There's plenty in behind, but I'm not going to go through them all until close to the time. The County Hurdle, you'll have to go back to Wednesdays. I'm quite strong on State Man for any handicap, and he could well turn up here. I'm not going to go into the rest. Albert Bartlett, I really want to see Hillcrest turn up here. My only concern would be obviously he had a very hard race at Haydock. Well, on appearance, it was bottomless ground at Haydock, and he ran 2 races. I mean, he came up and he ran the whole race with Greenbook alongside him, pestering him the whole way, testing his jumping, but never seemed to flatter. And he finally got rid of Greenbook, and it was like he won the race then. And then for the last like 3 furlongs, another horse that had been well out of the pack and just sat out the back, letting them two fight it out, then came and took him on again, and he had to find again. And he not only found again, like it wasn't even like hard work for him. I think this horse is good, like all this talk and stuff, I think this talk is justified. I think this horse is going to be an absolute monster once they get him galloping out onto like the big like over fences and stuff. I think this is all, that's why I don't think they're that bothered about this. But I mean, skipping this to go to Aintree, this does not look a vintage Albert Bartlett, not that you get many vintage Albert Bartletts. And a lot of the Irish, I think, are very like, I know this is a potato slow race, but they are very potato slow. Like Manella Crooner and Manella Kakuna, that was a good race, and I think those two do set the Irish standard. And both of them do look solid enough yardsticks. And the same with Bardenstown Lad, who's just doing the Albert Bartlett style. He's winning grittily, horrible races, not by far, and he looks an Albert Bartlett candidate. But I think if Hillcrest is in there, like, and he's still say the 5 to 1 or whatever. I think I took 12 to 1 the other day, non-run and no bet. But still, even at 5 to 1, if he was to run, like I would fancy him. I would probably take one of the Irish to go in there with him, but he sets a very good standard, and I think he's going to be a serious horse when he goes over fences. The Gold Cup it's a bit of a mess currently, because you're not 100% sure what's going to run from the in behind to allow you to look for something a bit more value. Like, you're taking a bit of a chance if you're going for like the likes of a steering for Longe. Will he even complete? Tornado Flyers are probably a bit overpriced at 12-1, considering he has won a King George and everyone's just wrote him off. I'm not a fan of Album Photo. The yard was not, that was not bullish comments from Willie Mullins saying the other day that he needed to do more with him and that he wasn't like. Protectorat is a complete unknown. He's very similar to Sean Blue in the fact that he ran one monster run when everyone else bottomed at Aintree in the heavy ground. He absolutely demolished the field. But my concern with that is like the rest of his form, like it's very, like you could place in a Group 1, but you're not winning a Group 1. So I can't see him being on my radar. Of the front three, Manila Indo is probably, I don't know what to make of the price because, I mean, yeah, won the Gold Cup last year, won it well. But this year been very like averagey sort of performances. Last time out was more of what you'd expect, but you're looking at a joint favourite or a 5-1 shot now, just in behind other horses who have upped their game again. So I don't think he's done anything to improve his claims from last year, but obviously his claims from last year are there for all to see. He sets the standard for them to come up to. And I do think jockey's an important for him. Like, obviously, he's obviously getting on well with Cooper. I don't know why Robbie Power's on him. That wouldn't be for me. And then Galvin's just the here and now horse. It's his first attempt at the race, which is always a good sign and a negative for others. He's a win machine, basically. I loved him in the National Hunt last year, and looking back, when you look at the likes of Ascaria 10 and behind, it was a solid enough race. And Snow Leopardess finished fourth in that race. So his form stacks up everywhere he goes. And obviously he did beat A Plus Tard, staying on, which was what was more important. Staying on is very important, obviously, on the extra distance. And we know he handles the trip from the National Hunt. And then A Plus Tard, the performance of the season over 3 mile for me was the Betfair Chase. He absolutely destroyed the field that day. I know it was Royal Pagal in behind, which isn't like a Group 1 winner, but he's... Royal Pagal is still a very good horse, especially on softer ground and stuff. So, and I don't think there was much between A Plus Tard and Galvin when they met. So I wouldn't expect there to be much between them again when they meet this time round. I'd expect that to be another race where they're 4-1 the field. And so my negative that you'd say would be for A Plus Tard is the fact that it's hard for horses to win on second attempt. But my positive would be the fact that I think that if that race was ran again at Christmas, there could be different results. And I also think the yard was under a big cloud at the time. So at the moment, I can't tell you much other than A Plus Tard and Galvin definitely set the standard. And the prices will probably be 4-1 the field on the day. Hunter's Chase, Billaway does the same thing every year. I always have a token bet on him. I enjoy it for 3/4 of the race until he gets to the end. And then a horse who's probably about 25-1 in the morning pops from nowhere and wins. So Billaway is what he is. His jumping's getting better and better. He's getting more and more experience. This has been a long-term project. He's come second the last 2 years. Last time out, he was applied with cheek pieces. He looked sharp that day. He didn't make his customary one fence mistake, at least. So he is still improving, and he will set the favourite standard. Even though he was defeated by Wing Leader, I'd have him to finish in front of Wing Leader. The big one is Bob and Co. I haven't dived into this race in great depth. That's what I'm doing this afternoon. But for Bob and Co, it reminds me a bit like Rachel with Manila Times in the Grand National, and the fact that David Maxwell's done everything to next level this year. People are so impressed with how much his ability all round has improved, and he's winning a lot of races at the amateur level. And this wouldn't surprise me if this was his little golden serenade to say, yeah, I'm here now. And he's already come out and said this is his best chance of a Cheltenham winner. And Paul Nicholls has said in the stable tour that this will be their number 1 for the Hunter's Chase. So considering they've got other horses like Cat Tiger, the fact that this is going to be the one, and he was going well last year, and he did beat Billaway at Punchestown, so it's not like he hasn't got the form. So yep, David Maxwell and Bob and Co at 10-1 wouldn't put you off there. The Mayor's Chase, LMA on Mount Ida, both of those two for me, 3-1 apiece, wouldn't change, no in between. The English have got at least £10 to find with either of those two horses, which they could with improvement, but there's plenty of these that are fairly exposed. They've both battled each other. Mount Ida beat her, giving her £3, but it was a head bobber all the way to the line. LMA, I think, has been brought along slowly. Cheek pieces applied last time out to sharpen her up. I've got two theories. One is that she's not as interested as she was last year and she got beat by Cole Reevy and she sulks a bit. The other is that Willie's just literally bringing her on for this one big run, and that could be the case. When she battled out with Cole Reevy, if she runs to that level again on Cheltenham Friday, I think she will take the world of beating. But Mount Ida, who obviously won the Kim Muir, falling out the back of the telly, jumping right the whole way around, I don't think she'll jump right because we haven't seen that again. And the shorter trip obviously suits because she's been running over it this year. And I think she is a huge player, which is why at 3-1 apiece, that's even monies for the two. This race is going to cut up. We don't know if Concertista will run. Riviera de Tel's going to the Arkle. Put the Kettleon's going to the Champion Chase. So you're then looking at the Glancing Queen, Zambella, Gin on Lime, who's not been seen since that win at Cheltenham in November. So they've only got 14 to start with. So it's probably could even be less than 8 runners. So my advice for that one would be LMA and Mount Ida, 3-1 each, which gives you about even money. And then the Martin Pipe, the only one on the radar at the moment still, obviously from the straight up, was State Man. And I put my reasoning for that in Wednesday's video, so you'll have to watch that one. So that's my quickfire summary for Friday. Good luck, and I'll be back with more videos and more in-depth analysis of all of those races on Twitter, as I'm currently writing the previews now.